Good day to you. It's Wednesday, Pashas Bahar B'chikoisa Yites Iyah Tufshin Paivov, May 6th, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm here to bring you the news of the last 24 hours. So stay tuned on Edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Hayoim Arbu Shloshim Yoim Shaim Arbu Shavias V'Shisha Yomim Lu Oimer, and it's Yesod Shebahoid. The matzav is fragile, Rabbi Side. President Donald J. Trump has paused Operation Project Freedom in the Middle East. Trump's new deal with pharmaceutical companies is expected to bring massive savings. Hezbollah flags were seen waved outside Park East Synagogue in Manhattan. And the FBI plans to use AI to stop violent crimes before they even happen. And Trump is calling Meine Jiden von Amerika to keep Shabbos, make Shabbos great again. All that and way more today on Edge. Stay tuned. But first, if I ever want to buy something electronically, anything electronic, a device, a kosher device, a camera, a speaker, whatever it is, electronics, headphones, am I going to go on Amazon? No, I want to speak to someone. So I'm going to open my phone and I'm going to dial the following number. You can also see the number right here, actually, and scan this barcode to WhatsApp him, call him, text him. It's the same thing. And they deliver it right away. You speak to a human being. 347-480-7455. In a world of AI and everything, you feel like nobody's listening to you anymore. Just computers talking to you. It's great in some cases, but not in this case. In this case, I just want to buy something. I want to talk to someone. 347-480-7455. They have a selection, the best selection ever. Ring and go. Ring and go. Literally what they say. Ring and go. That's it. You ring them and you go. You get everything you need. Okay? 347-480-7455. And if you mention on Edge, you get 10% off. Now, President Trump has paused Project Freedom after just one day. During this short time, the U.S. Navy escorted several commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and after U.S. ships fought with Iranian forces yesterday, you all know what happened, Trump hit pause to give the two countries time to negotiate. And when people asked him, but they threw cruise missiles. Nah, that was a long time ago. It wasn't a big deal. It was yesterday. Anyway, he said, based on the request of Pakistan and other countries, the tremendous military success that we have had during the campaign, Operation Epic Fury. And of course he's talking about Operation One Day, Project Freedom against the country of Iran, and additionally the fact that the great progress has been made towards a complete and final agreement with representatives of Iran. We have mutually agreed, who is the we, by the way, I'm just saying, the we I'm talking about the other, on the Iranian side, while the blockade will remain in full force and effect, Operation Project Freedom will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized and signed. All right, now, but the shooting has not fully stopped. A French-owned cargo ship was just hit in the Strait of Hormuz. Several crew members were injured and the ship was damaged. Meanwhile, inside Iran, residents of 3 cities heard loud explosions. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, Iranian officials said the drones were spy drones, and the air defenses on the Kashem island, located near the Strait of Hormuz, shot them down. Officials say there was no damage reported after the interception. And who shot it? Nobody knows. All this time, Israel and the United States have obviously been jointly developing plans for a potential new round of strikes on Iranian targets. Senior Israeli defense officials believe military pressure will force Iran to finally agree to a deal. U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee held an urgent meeting with Prime Minister, he's the U.S. Ambassador in Israel, held an urgent meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem this past Sunday to discuss the timing of any potential military action. Trump was heard today sending very mixed messages on Iran. First he said he's giving them a week, and then he turned around and said, well, it's going to happen and there is no deadline. Just listen to him.
Never a deadline. It'll happen. It'll happen, but never a deadline. Thank you.
And then he said they're going to make a deal. And then in the strongest words yet, he said Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and if you want to live, they will not have a nuclear weapon. So listen to this.
We want to keep all of you alive. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that, among other things.
All right, I guess they've agreed to that. Who? But anyway, the point is, on top of that, new Cuba sanctions were announced, and analysts are now saying those moves are making the chances of a US-Iran nuclear deal even smaller. Well, to sum it up, one day there is a deadline, the next day there is no deadline, there is shooting going on, and the president is saying, if you want to live, no nuclear weapons. Anyway, now on the Caribbean side, the United States military carried out a deadly strike on a drug smuggling boat in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, killing 3 members of a drug gang. A special military unit used missiles to blow up the boats. Military officials confirmed, the South Command basically, that the boat belonged to a known terror group. Well, they're classified as terrorists, by the way, and was traveling along routes commonly used to move drugs. No American troops were hurt in the attack as usual. Okay, hundreds of protesters showed up outside Park East Synagogue in Manhattan, targeting an Israeli real estate event being held inside. Demonstrators from Pal Auda carried flags from Hezbollah and chanted calls for an intifada. And they accused the real estate event of selling stolen land, which they say includes Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the West Bank. It was actually an event hosting to sell land and houses in Israel. Outside, protesters wearing traditional Middle Eastern head coverings stood behind police barriers, and those, as you know, are kafirs. At first, they shouted chants, and then things turned violent. The crowd got into fights with police officers standing outside the building. New York City's mayor, Zoharan Mamdani, he's doing a great job, by the way, just saying. Previously condemned the language used by protesters, like, globalize the intifada. He said, well, it took him time to actually admit that, and then he said residents should be able to enter houses of worship without intimidation, though he added that the sacred spaces should not be used to promote activities that violate international law, and that he was intending to that message should come through to the inside of that shul. The top police officials in Washington, D.C. are about to be fired. 13 of them have already been taken off duty after being accused of faking the city's crime numbers. The district has reported a drop in overall crime in recent years after a sharp spike in 2023. Still, some inside the department have long complained that certain managers regularly changed crime labels to lower ones. This made their areas look safer when they really were not. Another assassination threat toward President Donald J. Trump is now working its way through federal court. 35-year-old D.J.T, an FAA employee from New Hampshire, didn't just send a death threat to the White House. He used his official government computer to do so. Before writing the email, he used that same FAA work computer to search how to get a gun and how to bring a weapon into a federal building, and to look up how many Americans want to see President Donald J. Trump dead. And then he sent the email directly to the White House, writing, quote, I, Dean DeLaChaye, I'm going to neutralize / kill you, Donald John Trump, because you decided to kill kids. And they and say that it was war, when in reality it was terrorism. God knows your actions and where you belong. He was arrested Monday and is now facing federal charges, obviously, together with Alan Cole, who is officially now charged as well for attempting to murder the President of the United States. The war with Iran is hitting Americans right in the wallet. Gas prices have now gone past $4.50 a gallon. That is 50% higher than when the war was started. AAA, the Car and Travel Club, put the national average at $4.48 a gallon. That is a 31 cent jump in just 1 week. Experts say prices will keep going up unless the fighting calms down. Several airlines have also called off around 13,000 flights for the month of May. And people have asked me about the interest rates. The interest rates so far have been stable, even though we said that they're going to change it. They haven't changed anything. It's running around 3.75%, something like that. Although the 30-year term mortgage rates have been around 6 or 7%. Oil prices are right now about $100 a barrel. Trump even said, look, they're lower. I thought they're going to be $200 a barrel, and they're actually 100. He's proud of it. President Trump's new agreements with pharmaceutical companies are expected to bring massive savings to Americans. Officials say this could save $529 billion over the next 10 years on medical costs. Okay, let's talk about politics and government, shall we? President Trump accused Pope Leo XIV of helping Iran. Speaking to conservative commentator Hugh Hewitt, Trump said that the first American-born pope is putting Catholics in danger by suggesting it is okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Pope Leo responded that he only wishes for peace. He clarified, for years, the church has spoken out against all nuclear weapons, so there is no doubt on that point. Now, the White House is trying to fix the relationship. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is flying to the Vatican City right now this Thursday for a face-to-face meeting with Pope Leo tomorrow, Pope Leo XIV. 30 Democrats in Congress are pushing the Trump administration to publicly say that Israel has nuclear weapons. Since the late 1960s, American presidents have followed a very strict rule to never say yes or no about whether Israel or any other country they know has them. The 30 members argue that the US cannot build a real nuclear plan for the Middle East, not while it keeps hiding this fact. But saying this would put Trump in a complicated situation. But saying this would put Trump in a complicated situation. So US laws prevents the country from helping other nations that develop nuclear weapons. So therefore, legal reasons like saying war instead of operation, all these are just words that you're not allowed to use. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the State Department are expected to simply ignore this letter from the 30 Democrats. The United States-led Board of Peace will not force Israel to follow current ceasefire rules if Hamas refuses to give up its weapons. A new letter from the Board of Peace points out that Israel is not following key parts of the first phase of the ceasefire deal. However, the American-led group made clear that Israel will not be held responsible for those rules as long as Hamas refuses to hand over its weapons according to the agreement. The US is continuously pushing for a face-to-face meeting between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, but Aoun is refusing to meet until all the deals of an agreement are fully worked out. Secretary of War Marco Rubio says a deal was very close, but pointed out that Hezbollah is getting in the way. Empty chairs and empty tables. Hezbollah said it carried out 18 separate attacks against Israeli targets in a single day. The attacks included explosive drones, rockets, artillery fire, and anti-tank missiles. Sirens went off in northern Israel as the military fired a missile to shoot down a flying object over southern Lebanon. Hezbollah also fired mortar shells directly at Israeli soldiers on the ground. Israel fired back, hitting 25 Hezbollah targets over the past 24 hours, taking out weapon storage sites and killing a number of terrorists. Before carrying out all those strikes, the Israeli military told civilians in 12 Lebanese villages to move at least 1 kilometer. Somebody asked me to not say kilometer, say miles or something. I don't know. What's 1 kilometer? Less than a mile away from the any terror locations. Okay, now, reports say Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has asked to meet... Oh, I heard another report. They killed a very senior Hezbollah member, Radwan Force, someone, and also another guy in Hamas. So reports say Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has asked to meet with Supreme Leader Mushtaba Khamenei to tell the military to stop attacking the Gulf states. In public, Pezeshkian told Iraq's prime minister that he cannot force his supporters to give up in private. He is telling people close to him that Iran's economy is about to fall apart completely. So, I made a mistake. I didn't pause there. In private, he is telling people close to him that Iran's economy is about to fall apart completely. He says that even if the US lifts its penalties on Iran, the country will still need billions of dollars in American money just to get by. A broken bank, in other words. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, flew to Beijing to meet with China's foreign minister. That meeting took place directly 1 week before President Trump is set to visit China. I wonder what that is all about. China, is still sending materials to make the drone factories in Iran and Russia. America has rules meant to stop that, but they are not working together. Yep. Turkey just showed off its first ever long-range missile. The giant weapon is built to fly from one continent to another. The Turkish government says this new missile moves faster than 5 times the speed of sound. That makes it very hard for defense systems to even track it in time. Officials said the missile can reach any part of Europe, and all of Israel is well within its range. Okay, now, London police are launching a special 100-officer unit to protect the city's Jewish community. The Metropolitan Police say the team will run regular neighborhood patrols and carry special equipment to handle terror threats. These officers are trained for serious danger, not just everyday street crime. The unit was announced after a recent rise in attacks on Jews across the city, as you can imagine and as you already know. But the new police unit is already facing a money problem. Top commanders have been warned that emergency funds set aside for the patrols could run out within weeks. Senior officers say the government has not secured any long-term budget to keep the effort going. Well, we hope it's not going to be a short-term thing. Anti-terror police in London are looking into an arson attack at a former shul in East London. After the fire, Prime Minister Keir Starmer sent a clear warning to Iran, telling them not to spread hate against Jews in Britain. The Ashadini Education and Cultural Centre, which is in the process of buying that building, strongly condemned the arson attack. More than 20 of the UK's Green Party candidates, led by this guy, obviously, who's a Jew, by the way, self-hating Jew, just saying, are under investigation for anti-Semitism. Obviously led by this self-hating Jew. Originally, the political party's leadership claimed that only a handful of people made hateful comments, and that the matter was already resolved. However, the actual number is alarmingly higher. The UK's Jewish Chronicle reported that 25 Green Party candidates have made anti-Semitic extremist remarks. This data is based on a file put together by the ruling Labour Party, the opposition, obviously. So, Green Party, not so green at all. 4 members of the group Palestine Action, who are, by the way, addressed as or classified as a terrorist organization right now in Britain, have been found guilty of breaking into an Israeli defense factory in Bristol. A jury found all 4 of them guilty of destroying property using sledgehammers and crowbars. One of them was also found guilty of hurting an officer who was struck with a sledgehammer. The European Union says that the United States should stick to an agreed-upon trade deal, but the US is holding back. Last July, the European Union and the US made a deal to put 15% tax, like tariffs, on most European goods. That, officials explained, is why Trump decided not to honor the full deal yet. The President Donald J. Trump, that if the Europeans aren't implementing the deal right now, the US doesn't have to do that either. A trade-off, in other words. Israel has agreed to export jet fuel to Germany after Berlin asked for help. Israel's Ministry of Energy confirmed the country has extra production available to send over, so both governments are also exploring whether Israel can supply natural gas to Germany. In return, Germany says its support for Israel's safety is total and not up for debate. German Foreign Minister Vadeful made the announcement in Berlin, standing alongside Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar. Vadeful called it a basic rule that will never change, adding that Germany will never allow Israel's existence to be put in danger. Fueling friendship. Ukrainians say that Russia broke a ceasefire that had not even started yet. Russian drones and missiles killed at least 27 people and wounded more than 80 across Ukraine, all civilians. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky came out strongly against Moscow, calling the deadly attacks completely shameless because Russia had just announced a one-sided pause in fighting for May 8th and 9th. Those dates line up with a big military parade in Moscow marking Russia's win in the World War II campaign. Now, Ukraine actually began its own pause in fighting on May 6th to match Russia's announced stop, but Russia didn't acknowledge it. And in response, the Ukrainian military fired guided cruise missiles and hit a military electronics plant that makes technology for the Russian armed forces. 4 Australian women connected with ISIS are returning to Australia with 9 of their children. The women were married to Islamic terrorists, ISIS terrorists, and spent years living in a camp in Syria. Their flight will land in Sydney, Australia, and also in Melbourne, Australia, while police are waiting to arrest them. Haredi leaders are threatening to boycott the Israeli airline Israel over its Shabbos flights. The airline is owned by a businessman named Rami Levy. A meeting has now been scheduled between the airline CEO and the Haredi leaders in Yerushalayim to address this dispute. Grounded by Shabbos. Chilul Shabbos. A cafe, speaking of Chilul Shabbos, in Ramat Gan was set on fire after men threatened to the owner for staying open on Shabbos. The suspect was caught on video but hasn't been arrested yet, and his identity is unconfirmed. Taking matters into their own hands by violence, I don't think is such a good idea. Next time they should just stay out of this violence. They can just boycott him like they wanted to do officially. But I'm not giving my opinion here. Ramat Gan Mayor, whatever his name is, said that the city will supply the cafe with double the number of tables and chairs it had before the fire. Maybe he should start closing his place on Shabbos to avoid such problems. I'm not saying that guy is right, but Shabbos. Chilul Shabbos is worse. Israeli police are calling for serious murder charges against the driver who ran over and killed 14-year-old Yosef Eisenthal Hashem Yinkum Domoy in January. The young boy was killed during a protest in Yerushalayim, and Eisenthal Hashem Yinkum Domoy was struck and caught beneath a bus after the Arab-Israeli driver drove into the crowd. The driver later said he was trying to escape what he perceived as a life-threatening situation. Authorities say the driver should be charged with killing the boy on purpose. Police have officially asked the courts to bring those charges against this Arab-Israeli. Thousands of Chassidim filled the streets of Wilhelmsburg for the magnificent Achnus Sefer Torah led by the Satmar Rebbe in Wilhelmsburg. Streets were closed along before Bedford Avenue and down Taylor Street as YNF Productions, Fleischmann, helped organize this massive event, and anyone who tried to drive through that area felt it. A royal procession marched through the city's streets before the Rebbe's Holy Sefer Torah, and the scene was truly something to behold. It was amazing. Thousands and thousands of participants moved indoors afterwards for the festive dancing with the Sefer Torah inside the great Shiel on Radney Street, the great Besmedrish. It was an amazing sight. The FBI is now using artificial intelligence to stop violent crimes before they happen. FBI Director Kash Patel announced the agency is using advanced computer programs that scan data to find danger faster than humans. A major focus is stopping planned school shootings. Patel says this is a part of a wider push to modernize federal law enforcement. The agency said that it is moving in a totally new direction now, obviously with AI. Today in Florida, Donald J. Trump's son showed the new official logo for Donald J. Trump's International Airport in Palm Beach. The logo has big gold letters, shiny wings, and a strong eagle. People online talked about the logo. Some said it looked like a hotel logo. Others said it looked like a superhero sign. But less than 1 hour later, Donald J. Trump posted a similar-looking logo on social media. This time it was for something called the National Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or NICE. There is one small problem. This is not a real agency. NICE. ICE is a real agency. It is a running joke that Trump likes very, very much. Many people were confused. Some asked if it was real, while others joked that ICE agents will now be called NICE agents and must say please and thank you. Anyway, playing nice with ICE. It will just cause the left media to have to say, nice agents came and did this, nice agents did that. President Trump signed an official proclamation calling on all American Jews to honor Shabbos on May 15th and May 16th. Meine Yidden Amerika. Here is exactly what he wrote, word for word. I encourage all Americans to honor this sacred tradition and join, he's Jewish Americans, he's saying, our Jewish brothers and sisters in celebrating Shabbos from sundown on Friday, May 15th to nightfall on Saturday, May 16th, in the spirit of America's 250th anniversary and Jewish Americans and the Jewish American Heritage Month. I call upon families and communities across the great nation to come together in rest, reflection, and gratitude to the Almighty. This is unbelievable. This is the first time an American president has ever called for a national Shabbos. The project is called Shabbos 250. It celebrates America's 250th birthday and is part of Jewish American Heritage Month. Many Rabbunim and community leaders are already thanking the president for this historic move because you know who he's calling. Meine Brüder in Amerika! Als halten Shabbos het doch gits an, en auch het. Just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Make Shabbos great again. That's the caption for today. Okay, and now, this is our news roundup for the day, so thank you for being with me here. And before we go, let's not forget Protobyte. Why you need Protobyte? Because Protobyte can design software, custom-made software. 347-354-1237. You mention on that, you get a good deal. Why S Capital Group? Why? Because S Capital Group. Why? They can lend you money for your investments. 718-831-2168. Investment in real estate. All right, now Arrive Express, though, has a different offer. They can take you to places. They can take you places, get you places. 845-622-1111. Upstate New York, 845-254-1111. All in the area of upstate New York, Muncie and then Monroe. You can download the app on arrivemuncie.com. Get yourself the app. It's a great app. You can just book taxis, track the taxis, know where they're coming, know where they're going, and anyway, Arrive Express. My friends, thank you so much for being here, and we will be in touch. Be'ezras Hashem tomorrow.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.